have feedback from folks.
Welcome everyone to this event. My name is Robert Matus. I'm chair of the Chronology Committee of the Vancouver City Planning Commission. The committee was formed about 18 months ago to identify the transformative moments in Vancouver's planning and development. And the project just sort of caught the imagination of a lot of people. It's generated a huge amount of excitement and energy. I want to acknowledge the committee members who are with us tonight. There's Karen Krangle and Brad Jones and Andy Ann and Anthony Pearl and Nola Kate Seymour, I don't think are here this evening. There's also Phil Mondor, a former commissioner who continues as a volunteer on the Chronology Committee. And our chairman, Danielle Bauer, who unfortunately is ill this evening and can't be with us. My job tonight is to introduce Marta Farevaag, who will give an overview of the event. Marta is a fellow of the Canadian Institute of Planners, chair of the Vancouver Heritage Foundation, urban planning principal at PFS Studio of Landscape Architecture, former chair of the Planning Commission, and an instructor for the special SALA chronology course that ran from January to April last year. So here's Marta. Thank you.
Thanks, Robert, for that introduction. Lights would be good. Welcome, everybody, to an evening of conversation about the future of the city and informing our thoughts about the future by reflecting on the past. I am happy to stand in for Danielle, and the speaking notes were prepared for her, so I'm going to present them that way. Although I'm not currently on the Vancouver Planning Commission, I had the good fortune to sit on it for several terms in the past. And this connection that's been created with the Vancouver City Planning Commission, the School of Architecture and Landscape Architecture, and the Urbanarium has been very interesting to a large number of people. I'm here to talk about the launch of the timeline. It's being launched tonight officially, and I hope that you will have the opportunity to see it. We're delighted by the interest in the event, and we regret that there are a few empty seats here when we had to turn people away. We are hoping that this event will continue to resonate with people and that we'll see sellouts in the future as this event is repeated on a yearly basis. Before I begin, I would like to acknowledge that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Coast Salish people. The VCPC has two reasons for this evening. The first is to launch the chronology, and I hope you will all take a chance to look at it. This panel here gives you the link to the VCPC website, also Twitter hashtag addresses should you want to be socially active with the social network tonight. So in addition to launching the chronology, the second purpose for this evening is to review the planning and development events of the past year that seem significant enough to include as potentially transformative and become this year's additions to the chronology. The chronology ended in 2014 when the class ended, and this is our opportunity to engage with a conversation about what the events of 2015 are that are identified as being game-changing events, things that happened this year that what we look forward or backward 25 years from now we will see as the events that made a big difference and changed the course of the history of the city when they happened in 2015. So for the review, we have you in the audience, we have this extraordinary panel, and Stephen Quinn from the CBC, who will moderate the evening. The link is now live on the website, and if you're coming to the Urbanarium event at the Museum of Vancouver, there is an area where you can also explore it in the display. I wanted to ground our discussion in an understanding of the planning legacy of the past. There are many interesting histories and many useful thematic chronologies. The VCPC identified the need for one that was about planning and development history. A number of years ago, I think maybe 2 years ago, they had a workshop, brought a lot of thinkers about the city together and talked about what the VCPC might take on as projects. And the idea of a chronology came up through that discussion. Shortly after that, there was an opportunity for the Urbanarium to meet with the Vancouver City Planning Commission. Leslie Van Duzer, who was the chair of the School of Architecture and Landscape Architecture, was part of that Urbanarium discussion. And that started a conversation that brought Sala and the Urbanarium into the same room, and the process continued from there. We had a wonderful advisory group shaping the chronology, which includes Ken Cameron, Norm Hodson, John Atkin, Michael Kluckner, Bruce McDonald, and Catherine Sinisak. And they worked closely with the advisors, who you've already been introduced to work with the students who took the Sala course. We've also been supported by several organizations, the Vancouver Urbanarium Society, the Vancouver Archives, the Vancouver Public Library, and the Vancouver Heritage Commission. And I see people from all of those organizations in the audience tonight. So particular thanks has been singled out for Leslie Van Duzer, who's in the audience as well. She, in her capacity as a member of the board of directors of the Urbanarium and director of the School of Architecture and Landscape Architecture, suggested the idea that a course be given in the winter of last year that would bring students together to do the background research that would be the cornerstone of the chronology and build both the wiki and the website. The second thanks is to me, and I was very fortunate in that I had a connection to the Urbanarium. Leslie had made this idea as an offer to the Vancouver City Planning Commission and to the school, was looking for somebody to step up and teach the course. And I thought, what a great opportunity to work with students and the VCPC and the Urbanarium to drill down and see what were the seminal events of planning and development since the very beginning of Vancouver's history, even pre-contact. And we advertised the course late. It was after Christmas, and a flurry of students stepped up to take it. We had students from the architecture school, landscape architecture, planning, the new Masters of Urban Design program at UBC, and geography. We had students who were brand new to Vancouver and students who'd lived here all their lives. And they took the opportunity to heart, jumped on the opportunity to learn more about the city, and we're very privileged to work with a strong group of advisors. We also reached out to a number of past directors of planning and other planning professionals who came and lectured to the students, and those lectures were shared with our advisory panel. So there was a great deal of very knowledgeable and energetic thinking brought to the chronology. The material is somewhat inconclusive. There's still more work to be done. But it was decided that it was a good time to launch the chronology now, even though it may not be complete. And given the fact that we're hoping that every year there'll be an addition of a new year to it, perhaps it will never be complete. This discussion today is a hope for the VCPC that they will have it every year. Two very interesting workshops were held leading up to this event by the VCPC, where people discussed the last year and what was important and what might be these game-changing decisions, not the business as usual decisions that we will still recognize looking back in the future. So now I'll turn things over to Stephen Quinn, our moderator. Stephen is the host of CBC's daily radio program On the Coast, keeping us current on local issues. A radio journalist and formerly CBC's provocative civic affairs reporter, he has hosted and guest hosted many CBC programs. Stephen has been honored many times with awards from the Radio, Television, and Digital News Association. So, Stephen.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Marta. Thank you all for being here this evening. Very privileged and to be part of this evening. Great pleasure to see this esteemed panel. I am your translator tonight. For those of you who are lay people like myself who don't swim in the waters of planning. So I'm going to try to keep these people on track and try to make sure that what we're talking about this evening is understandable to the largest number of people. I'll introduce the panel in just a moment. I just want to say, and thank you to Elizabeth Valentine as well for communicating everything to me over the past couple of weeks. I asked the question, why are we here? And the answer I got was, this is about updating the chronology of events for 2015 that could significantly affect, even transform, as Marta just said. They want to do that based on a broad discussion. They want not just what the planning commissioners think of this. So that's what you're here for. So the way the evening will work is I'll introduce our panelists. Each of the panelists will have 4 or 5 minutes to make their case about which of these transformative decisions that the city encountered in 2015. You may agree or disagree about which ones are actually transformative. We'll talk about that. We'll open it up for a broad discussion between the panelists. I will act as referee. And I'd like to give us at least 45 to 50 minutes, pretty much half of this time, to have you up here. There's a microphone in the middle of the floor to be able to share your own ideas and what you think of what you've seen on all the boards around you. Sound good? Everybody good with that? Excellent. To the panel. We begin with Noha. Noha.